on.
Let the games begin.
Like they say, behind every good Frankenstein's monster is a great Frankenstein's monster's girlfriend? If you're scratching the bolts that are on both sides of your necks in confusion, fear not. Perhaps this week's movie, The Bride, exclamation point, will educate you and raise awareness as to what's going on. This movie could, quite possibly, save lives. One of the lifesavers is Christian Bale playing Frankenstein's monster, and the other is Jessie Buckley as the bride, exclamation point. Get ready to get set straight on this episode of Movies Merica Live.
In a world where the number of movies available is great, but many are so bad, you'll learn a new definition of hate. One man sifts and reviews through the movie sludge. One man will be the movie cop, jury, and judge. He goes by many names, but you know him by Movies Merica.
Well, hello, everybody there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to this latest episode of Movies Merica Live. And as always, I'm your humble host, Van Ebert, otherwise known as Movies Merica. I can be called either one. I will not sue anybody for calling me Movies Merica or Van Ebert, so it's all good. But I want to welcome you on this Sunday afternoon here. And since it is technically still the weekend here, and we are talking about a really heavy subject like movies, okay, I want you to be able to kick back, relax, and just take it easy during this Movies Merica Live episode where we are talking about The Bride, exclamation points, this week. And this is a spoiler-free review, so you don't have to worry about any being crushed emotionally and psychologically by me, unleashing any spoilers or anything like that, okay? And also, it's your chance here real quick. Since we're live, you can live chat with me about The Bride, exclamation point, or any movie or really anything that you want to live chat about. Okay, I can't stop you from live chatting about what you want to. So there you go. But you can live chat on Rumble or YouTube. But so let's get into The Bride, exclamation point there. And it's directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal, and she's the sister of Jake Gyllenhaal here, who appears in this movie. And also it stars Jessie Buckley as the bride, exclamation point. And then we get a Maggie Gyllenhaal, Christian Bale reunion after they were both in The Dark Knights, where Maggie Gyllenhaal, played, was it Rachel Dawes in that movie there, and she gets killed. Spoilers! For The Dark Knight, hey, it came out in 2008. All right, so there you go. But I promise you, that's the only spoiler I'm going to have in this episode. A spoiler about a movie that came out almost 20 years ago, okay? And then we also have in this movie, we have Maggie Gyllenhaal's husband, Peter Sarsgaard, in this. He's a character actor that, you've seen in many other movies as well. I get Penelope Cruz, that's Mrs. Javier Bardem there, or I'm sure she'd prefer just being known as Penelope Cruz there. I get Annette Bening, that's Mrs. Warren Beatty. See, I keep doing that, right? I keep doing that right there. These are females. They want to be known for themselves. Okay, so Annette Bening. And then you have Angelica Houston there, and she's obviously probably know her more for playing Morticia Addams in the Addams Family movies there back in the day. So, but the plot of The Bride, exclamation point. Let's get into that a little bit without spoiling it. And this has to do with, it starts off with Frank, or Frankenstein, of course, played by Christian Bale. And he basically is taken on the namesake of his creator, Dr. Frankenstein, so that's why he introduced himself as Frank or Frankenstein. And he hears about this doctor in Chicago. Okay, so this doesn't take place in Europe, okay, because this takes place like 100 years after he's created. and he hears about this doctor in Chicago that can, who can bring people back from the dead, or as this movie calls it, reinvigorate. I guess they term or they describe like bringing people back from the dead, like digging up a dead body and bringing them back from the dead, just like you would. Describe someone going and get a triple espresso so they can reinvigorate themselves in the morning, right? But they call it reinvigoration in this movie for some reason. I think it's kind of retarded, but anyway. But so he goes in there and he wants this doctor, played by Annette Bening, to reinvigorate, or I'm just going to call it, but bring back from the dead and create this bride of Frankenstein for him because he's been wandering around this earth for over 100 years now, and he's getting a little lonely. Okay, he's so lonesome. He's a lonesome dove, and he wants a little companionship. I think we all know what that's code for, right? And so, yeah, he just wants his doctor to create this basically, a girlfriend. Okay, I guess he wants his doctor to go full weird science and basically make a girl. Okay, for him right there. Unfortunately for him, the girl doesn't look like the girl from Weird Science there, so he's not quite that lucky right there. It's what was her name back in the day with Weird Science? God, I completely whiffing her because she was married to Steven Seagal back in the day. I'm ashamed as a heterosexual man that I can't remember the actress's name from Weird Science back in 1985. But anyway, so that's what he's Frank or Frankenstein starts out the movie with, starts out the plot with in this. And eventually, of course, obviously, since the movie's called The Bride, exclamation point, of course, the doctor eventually agrees to create him a girlfriend. And then, unbeknownst to them, the corpse that they use for his girlfriend is the body of a mob call girl. Okay, and she's killed by the mob, and so she's reinvigorated. Okay, she's brought back to life, and she is. Yeah, she's a real handful. Okay, okay, she was she's a real handful before she got murdered. Because she's just like, I am woman, hear me roar, and she hates all men, and she hates pretty much she's like this over the top, bombastic, try hard kind of like the lady that even no matter how drunk you got the bar, she'd be up on the bar dancing around for 3 hours, and eventually even you would be like, okay, get off the bar. Come on. It's played out. It's lame at this point. It was fun for the first hour and a half, but come on, come down off the bar. She's kind of that kind of woman, okay? And so then that shocks the crap out of the doctor. And then, of course, Christian Bale, since he wants a girlfriend, he's willing to put up with whatever from her. And so they go out in public and they have a good time. And eventually something happens where Frank has to take care of business, and that sets off this whole chain of events where they're on the lam and all of that stuff right there, and it turns into Frankenstein version of Bonnie and Clyde, right? And they got the law, they got the long arm of the law after them, and so it gets a little sticky in this movie, but that's the plot there. I'm not going to go into it anymore than that right there. Quite frankly, because it's boring. The plot, it's a plot where Maggie Gyllenhaal, the director, does try to take a lot of chances and try to do a lot of new things, but they just fall splat like this. Instead of radiating and being this great success of these things that she's trying in this movie, they just fall dead with a thud. Okay, and that's why just explaining the plot is just kind of boring and dull and all of that stuff there. So it's just not anything that I'm really that excited to be going over or anything like that. And plus, if you really want to know about the plot, well, you'll watch the movie here, whether I recommend you watching this movie or not. Okay, so there you go. But let's move on real quick. All right. Okay. All right. Yeah, I don't know what happened right there. So that was on a delay for me. But anyway, that being said, we've got some more The Bride exclamation point to talk about right here. But before I do that here, let me double check something real quick. There we go. All right. And first thing I'll say about The Bride exclamation point is I always have, at the very least, a little respect for creators who take a risk and just take a swing and go for it all and go for something unique. And I will say, director Maggie Gyllenhaal did go for something distinct with The Bride exclamation point. So she does have a drop of respect from me, but that is just one drop in a lake of disrespect for everything else about this movie. All right. I mean, to be quite frank, this movie is an example of why Paramount buying Warner Brothers is a good thing, because Warner Brothers is the movie that is a studio that made The Bride exclamation point. And again, it's not a good thing, because Donald Trump and Paramount and the Paramount CEO there, David Ellison, are friends or anything like that. But because the people at Paramount know the mindset of most of America and know what kind of movies most of America wants. Now, that's one reason that soy boys like this are scrambling for their safe space after news of this buyout.
You already have David Zaslav out here celebrating, saying this is tremendous value for shareholders. That's all he cares about, shareholders. Now, on one hand, Paramount buying WB is good for movie theaters, but that's really it. That's the only good thing to come out of this. Because Paramount now has ties to Home Alone 2 star Donald Trump, and he's made it very clear that he was going to basically control everything.
So yeah, as you see, this guy, he's the kind of beta boy who a movie like The Bride exclamation point is catnip for. I mean, as you saw him, right there, old soy Roy over there. He's thinking suddenly the new season of House of the Dragon is going to now include House MAGA, and Trump is now going to be the king of the Seven Kingdoms, among other Trumpy additions to movies and TV. Now, us grown-ups, us adults, we know that won't happen, and that all this buyout means is that maybe we'll have less transmissions in Star Trek shows, and CNN will be told they're no longer Pravda for the Democrat Party. Okay, they're CNN, sorry, but you're just going to have to go back to the neutral news provider that they were back, in the late 80s and 90s, when anyone out there still respected them. Also, there will be no The Bride exclamation point two, but that was going to happen anyway. That had nothing to do with the buyout or anything like that. I mean, there's not going to be The Bride exclamation two, since this movie costs $90 million to make. So it needs to, because if you take the rule is, in order to break even, I mean, I'm not even talking about making a profit. I'm talking about just breaking even. Your movie needs to make 2.5% or 2.5 times what the budget of the movie was, because you have to make back the budget of the movie, and you also have to make back the money that you used to promote the movie. So, 2.5 times 90 million, that's 225 million. So this movie, since its budget was 90 million, that's pretty high for a movie like this. It needs to make 225 million to break even, and it only made 7.3 million its opening weekend. I mean, that's terrible. That's a forecast that this movie is going to bomb spectacularly. Matter of fact, it's already the biggest bomb of 2026 so far, and I know we're not that far into 2026 right there, but it actually might hold that place, into 2026 for a while. There is the biggest bomb of this year. Maggie Gyllenhaal will be in director's jail for a while after this bomb. And in case you guys, if there's anybody out there that doesn't know what director's jail is, basically that's where you go if you make a movie that costs a studio a boatload of cash. Okay, you get grounded basically. Okay, it's like you get sent to your room for timeout. Okay, as a director, You're a very bad director. All right. You did the Hollywood version, the directorial version of, throwing your SpaghettiOs, across the room and, up against the wall. And, now you're reprimanded up to your room for a little time out there. So Maggie Gyllenhaal is going to have to do a little director's time out there for a while. And you know what? And it's, she did it to herself. She made this bomb of a movie. And, that's why limousine liberals can't have nice things, everybody. It's just, that's why right there. Okay. So let that be a lesson there, Maggie Gyllenhaal. All right. Next time, do it better. All right, so let's do this here real quick here. And I just want to ask you if you would to like or subscribe or follow this show right here, okay? And that's via the like button down there, okay? So just like any of these shows have, and I'm going to go through this really quickly because I know every single time I go through these buttons, viewership drops exponentially. But we will get back to The Bride, exclamation point, very shortly here, okay? So, but I just want to tell you about the like button, the subscriber follow button, and the notification bell down there if you would click those. Now, if you've already clicked the subscribe button or the notification bell button, don't click them again because you'll undo clicking those right there. And then for my viewers here that aren't watching it live or aren't watching this episode live here, you just watch the recording of it. Well, hey, I still appreciate you watching the show all the same. It still touches me right here. But I just want to single you guys out here just to let you know that just because you can't live chat with me and we can't communicate back and forth with each other during this live transmission, we can still talk with each other. We're just going to have to do it via the comments section down below right there and comment about whatever you want right there, okay? And do it to it. And again, that's all I'm going to say about that. There we go. Let's get into more The Bride, exclamation point. Alrighty then. So, remember the movie True Romance? Remember that? The Tony Scott movie from back in like 1993. Quentin Tarantino wrote it. It was like the first time or one of the first times people saw Brad Pitt there in a movie. It was before he was a big star. And, and the reason I bring up that movie True Romance is because True Romance had the characters. They had the main characters, Clarence and Alabama. And then, of course, you had the movie Bonnie and Clyde. They had, Bonnie and Clyde. And then we had, Oliver Stone's Natural Born Killers. It had Mickey and Mallory. Well, The Bride, exclamation point, has Frank as in Frankenstein again, of course. And Ida is the human name, I guess, they give to the Bride of Frankenstein here. So, so you have Frank and you have Ida, and they are played again by Christian Bale and Jessie Buckley, respectively. Now, these are couples, all these couples that I mentioned right there, these are couples that are in extraordinary circumstances. We have Frank and Ida, or the Bride, exclamation point, fall more into the Bonnie and Clyde and Mickey and Mallory category, where you really aren't given anything to make you want to root for them to make it out alive. I mean, Bonnie and Clyde, they go out there, they rob banks, and neither of them are particularly likable characters or anything like that. And then Mickey and Mallory from Natural Born Killers, they're really unlikable. I mean, they go around just shoot people indiscriminately just because they feel like doing it there. So kind of hard to root for. Although Natural Born Killers, the movie, portrays it like people are rooting for them right there. So, there's nothing that they do. There's nothing in how they portray Frank and the Bride in this that make you want to root for them to make it out alive. You're just basically like, I almost just want them to be killed so this movie can end and the lights can go back on and I can leave, right? Right there. So, but when Frank is first, on his own, early on in this movie before, he gets his girlfriend created for him, he's a mild-mannered, sympathetic character who, just likes to go to the movies and, doesn't want to hurt anyone or anything like that. So he's easy to root for, right? Then enter Jessie Buckley's Bride, with her try-hard, over-eager, screeching banshee of a performance. She creates that dynamic of, have you ever known a couple where the husband shows up to the neighborhood barbecue and everyone is glad to see him? You know, they're all like hey, hey, Bill, how you doing there, Bill? How you doing? Hey, good to see you, man. Hey, Bill, hey, come on over here, man. Hey, let me tell you about this thing we were doing. Hey, Bill, great to see you, Bill. Man, how you doing? Hey, is that Bill? Oh, we love Bill. Bill's awesome, all right? And then everyone is, like I said, they're glad to see him. And then a few minutes later, his stumbling, bumbling, shrieking, the View loving, Merlot marinated feminazi wife shows up, chastising people. I hope you're all loving your little party, eating a living, breathing thing and stuffing your faces when there's starving Palestinian families. I mean, and just the spouse, the friggin' like the harlot wife, the annoying biatch of a wife right there. Nobody likes that, right? Whatsoever, right here. And personally, halfway into the movie with these two, I just wanted them to be caught and riddled with bullets, like Sonny Corleone style, or like Bonnie and Clyde there. And then also in this movie, there's another couple of characters in this movie here. Obviously, there's a lot of characters in this movie, but these next two characters are like kind of down one rung from the main characters. And that is the characters of the two detectives that are chasing them. And those two detectives are Jake, played by Peter Sarsgaard, and Myrna, played by Penelope Cruz. And Jake is essentially, he's like the Harvey Keitel character from the movie Thelma and Louise, where he's like the one man portrayed in the movie as somewhat empathetic to the woman's plight. However, no, we can't have him portrayed as all good. I mean, that's where Myrna comes in, Penelope Cruz's character. Myrna, she's there so that Jake can be the more inept out of the two, while Myrna is the brains of the operation, but Jake doesn't give her the credit, for that, whatsoever.
Message.
So that's that's one some of the features of the movie right there here. So as you can tell, I'm giving my final thoughts away on this movie here. You can tell that I'm not recommending you check it out, this movie whatsoever. I mean, unless you want to at first roll your eyes repeatedly until your eyes are going to roll into the back of your head, and then followed by a nice little nap, by a nice little power nap right there, because that's what I got through a lot of this movie right there. I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. I quite honestly, there's probably probably 5 or 6 parts of this movie where I can't really recollect a whole lot from the movie there, because I just couldn't keep my eyes open through a lot of this movie here. And what also works against that and creates that situation is this movie. There's a lot of darkness in this movie. This movie takes place at night a lot. There's in a lot of dark environments and all of that stuff right there. So that's what I have to say for now about the Bride exclamation point. But I'm going to be talking more about the Bride exclamation point, but not until after we do a little brew review time. All right, let me introduce you to today's brew here. And I ran out of time to do the needed research for this brew here for today's brew review time here. So I am quite honestly, because I want to be honest with you, my movie maniacs and my fellow freedom-fueled film fanatics, about everything with the show right here. And so I am kind of phoning it in here, to be honest with you, with the brew review time, because I'm going to have to just pretty much read off the internet about this brew right here. But again, so the double-bladed Axeman refers to a high-gravity Imperial IPA brewed by Surly Brewing Company, and that's out of the Twin Cities there. So they haven't burned everything down there in the Twin Cities right there. They do still have at least one beer brewing company called Surly there. And this style of beer is a American Double Imperial IPA, and its alcohol content is 10.8% alcohol by volume, or ABV here. And it's actually double dry hopped with Citra and Mosaic hops right there, with Warrior hops used for bittering right there. And then also it's got a malt base. It's brewed with Golden Promise and 2 row malts, providing a rich bready foundation. Let's try that again. A bready foundation. Okay. And I got to be honest with you, I think that's the first time I've ever heard the word bready there, but I like it. I like it. And then we have, as far as the flavor and aroma, the flavor includes like intense notes of mango, melon, and cantaloupe. Okay. And then it finishes with a high lingering bitterness. And some have say that it has like this dry mouth feel to it right there. So, but let's do this here real quick. I just want to call an audible right here. I'm going to put this down right here because I also like to let you guys know what foods does the beer pair well with. Yeah, let's do this. Pair well, food does this beer pair well with. There you go. So let's see what the god of AI says right here. So okay, here we go. So it basically pairs well with rich and fatty foods. Okay, and just some examples are smoked beef brisket or barbecue. All right, that's rich and fatty foods right there. Gourmet burgers. Okay, so you have like a good juicy burger with the toppings like bacon or mushrooms right there. Help balance the beer's intense resinous profile. And I totally came up with that off the top of my head. Totally. Fried foods. Okay, so you got traditional fried foods like, beer battered fish or fried chicken. Works well as the carbonation refreshes the mouth between bites right there. So I would have to add one word to that. Spicy fried chicken. Okay, so I love me some spicy fried chicken there, or some Nashville hot fried chicken. Ooh, so good, so good. And speaking of spicy, some other spicy foods that it pairs well with is a Thai green curry. All right, and then spicy chicken wings. I'm making myself hungry talking about this. I got to stop doing this right here because my stomach is growling as I read through this. Mexican dishes. Okay, so like fish tacos, would go very, very well with this. And then, if you live up in Wisconsin, sharp cheeses, it goes well with this particular double blade, double IPA right here, like sharp aged cheddar and blue cheese. Oh, God. Ugh. Blue cheese, my God, it's the bane of my appetite's existence right there. Blue cheese is just nasty. And then like snacks and charcuterie there, like a spicy snack mix that goes good with this brew. And then last but not least, a charcuterie board there. So if your wife is nagging you, to go out and get a charcuterie board, and you're like, I hate charcuterie boards. Well, at least you have a beer to help kind of take the edge off you having to go out there and get a charcuterie board, which is kind of like the the trendy thing that people do the last few years. You gotta get, honey, you've got to get a charcuterie board for the party, okay? Kind of like back in the 70s, fondue, was a food fad there. Now, recently in the last few years, charcuterie has been a fad, has been a food fad right there. But so that is the Surly Double Bladed Axeman brew right there. Again, it's an Imperial IPA, or an American Double IPA right there. And so instead of me talking about it, I'm going to take a tug off this bad boy right here. Oh yeah. So, where am I at with this brew? So, I would actually recommend getting this brew. I think the major thing that pushed me over the recommend it as opposed to not recommend it finish line is all the foods that it pairs well with right there. That I just read off to you there. Because now it makes me want to go down the list and start trying all these foods that are recommended right here, especially like the gourmet burgers that's talking about. Like by gourmet, it doesn't have to be a gourmet burger. It just has to be a burger with savory toppings like bacon or mushrooms right there. So I just picture getting like a nice, greasy, sizzling, medium rare cheeseburger with some bacon and mushrooms on there. It's got to be the fried mushrooms right there with that crispiness on the edges of the mushrooms right there. Ooh, so good. So good. And like sauteed in butter and all that. Ooh. So because I'm picturing myself drinking this brew with the burger like that, yeah, that gets my vote as far as recommending this particular brew there for you. And as like Surly, it's not a common brand. It's not like Bud Light, Tranny Fluid, or Coors Light, or Dos Equis, or Tecate, or like mass-produced beers like that. So you're probably going to need something if you don't live in the Twin Cities. You're probably going to need something like the Open Bar app on your phone to get something like Surly here, since it's not a common beer. They got gopuff.com. That's out there. That website, I believe, specializes in the ability to deliver beer that you have nowhere near your area. It can be thousands of miles away from your area, but it will deliver that beer to you. It's just going to cost you something. It's going to cost you some scratch to do that. Also, Uber Eats. If you happen to have this beer in your area, Uber Eats doesn't just deliver your chicken wings or your tacos. It doesn't just deliver food. It does deliver booze now. So thank God. There's sometimes I forget how much I love America, and then I remember Uber Eats delivers booze, and I thank God I live in a country like America. Even though there's so many people that hate this country and take it for granted, I appreciate America, and I'm smart enough to remember great things like that. Like Uber Eats will deliver you booze here at up to your doorstep. That's for sure, right there. But so yeah, check that out here as I recommend this particular brew. And with that news, let's close out this brew review time. All right, so we got some technical difficulties on my end with the software that I use right here. Because it's like every single time I try to play a video on here, it hesitates there. So it's a pain in the butt right there. But it's just Rumble Studio here. I think it's free, or maybe it's not, but I think it's free. So basically, you get what you pay for. So with how well it works, okay. But real quick here, instead of me bitching about Rumble Studio here, let me show you something here that I think you're gonna really like, and you're gonna appreciate the fact that I am showing you this. And no, it's not anything perverse, everybody. Okay, there you go. All right. But let's do this here real quick and do that. Let's click a few buttons. Let's click a few buttons, everybody. Let's click a few buttons. Well, I want to show you the Movies Merica merch store. All right. I don't want to hog all this Movies Merica merch all to myself here. But as you can see, like the first thing that obviously comes up here is the Big Mugs camo trucker hat, the big Movies Merica camo trucker hat here. And it looks exactly like it does in the picture, except for the fact it does not have purple on it. Okay. And I know I'm disappointed about that too. I think it looks better with the purple there, but it does not have the purple. But again, just wanted to be totally honest with you about that. But as you see here, although that hat doesn't have purple, we have plenty of other merch in here that does come as it looks here in these pictures here. So, of course, we've got excuse me. I'm getting all choked up about my own merch. We've got these T-shirts here with the first Movies Merica logo. This is the Big Mugs Movies Merica logo here. We got T-shirts. We got wife beaters there. I don't know if that'd be a wife beater because it's gray. Actually, I think can you get it in white? Nope, you can't get it in white. So officially, it's not. Actually, I think you can get it in white. Here, let's do this here. Oh yeah, look at that. Yes, you can get it in white. You got your wife beater right there. Yep, there you go with the white. Just picture there's a pepperoni pizza stain right there. So there you go. So, well, yeah, if you're the kind of guy that likes to be featured on the show Cops, and you like to be hiding from the cops underneath the kiddie pool, there you go. We got a baseball long sleeve there. Got a hoodie. Got a windbreaker. Got a sports bra there as well. Hello. And then we got the second Movies Merica logo here. We've got the Hollyweird Movies Merica logo, and obviously you can see that you get that on some shirts and some tank tops and hoodies and all of that stuff and all the like. And then now we're getting down to my personal favorite Movies Merica logo. It's the Black Adams style Movies Merica logo here. And if I get my mouse to work, there we go. You can get on, again, t-shirts and tank tops and all that stuff there as well. So yeah, you got that going on. And then also you might be saying, "Hey Van, I got all the clothes I need hanging up in the closet, man. I'm good. I'm good when it comes to clothes there." Or you might be saying, "Hey Van, I bought all the clothes on Movies Merica, so I'm exhausted. I bought everything already." But you know what, hey Van, I am thirsty. Do you happen to have some Movies Merica drinkware? And to that, my friend, I would say, you've come to the right place. Get ready to be happy because we've got drinkware in spades here as well. Got a koozie down there as well. Got desk mats and all of that stuff. So yeah, you've got variety here on the Movies Merica merch store right there, and it's very easy to find this particular website here because we've got the Movies Merica merch website down in the description there for you all to check that out. Okay, so but hey, get in there and grab some stuff for yourself, or hey, it makes makes a great gift. Okay, and also makes a great conversation piece as well because I've worn Movies Merica gear out in public before, and I get people asking me, "Hey, what's Movies Merica?" Okay, and so there you go. If you want to, if you're a dude and you want like maybe some hot women, ask you, "Hey, what's Movies Merica?" Hey, there you go. You grab yourself some Movies Merica merch, and you are on your way. You're off to the races, everybody. Okay, so there we go with that, with the Movies Merica merch. But again, the link is down in the description for that website right there. All right, and now for some random thoughts here about this here movie that we are talking about with the bride exclamation point. And I got a couple of random thoughts. And my first random thought is Christian Bale is just wasted in this reunion between him and his Dark Knight co-star Maggie Gyllenhaal. I have no idea. I mean, quite frankly, I have no idea what Christian Bale was thinking doing this movie. Maybe he just wanted to do it as a favor to Maggie Gyllenhaal because maybe they've been friends since The Dark Knight or something like that. But you may have not even realized this, but we haven't seen Christian Bale in anything like no movies, no TV shows, nothing in 3 years. Okay, and if you take away his, I think he did this brief appearance in this thing that like nobody saw. It's actually been 4 years since he's been in anything that anybody would have seen for the most part right there. So I'm just going to increase the number. We haven't seen him in anything in 4 years. And right before he took that 4-year break, he had 3 straight movie failures. Okay. He had Thor, Love and Thunder, Amsterdam, and The Pale Blue Eye, which was like just some weak ass Netflix movie there. And then he has all these 3 failures before he takes that 4-year break, and he comes back with this. He's fallen quite a bit from his last good performance in Ford v Ferrari. Okay, and that came out in 2018, 2019, something like that. It's been a while. It's been a minute. Okay, but you know what? Hope springs eternal because Christian Bale, at least he'll be in Heat 2 soon there. So Michael Mann is making the sequel to his classic heist movie Heat, and Christian Bale is supposed to play. He's either supposed to play Vincent Hanna, the Al Pacino character, or Chris Chahairless, the role that the late great Val Kilmer made famous from the first Heat movie. So I don't know. We'll see if Christian Bale can revive his career with being in Heat 2. I don't know. I mean, and again, you have to think Heat 2's got to be a good movie, okay? Because hopefully it doesn't go the path of Gladiator 2, because obviously Gladiator, just like Heat, is a beloved movie, and And just like Gladiator 2, Heat 2 will be a sequel that comes decades and decades after the beloved original movie. And as we can tell from, as we know from Gladiator 2, man, just because it's the same director and it doesn't mean it's going to be a good sequel. Okay, I mean, because Gladiator 2 was a cinematic turd. Okay, so hopefully Heat 2 isn't number 2. Okay, when that comes out right there, but we'll see how that all turns out. But another random thought I had about The Bride exclamation point is this movie is not only sucking at the box office, but even the film Twitter lefty lemmings that you'd think would be fangirling over a message movie like this are turning on it. Even the shrillest bag of wind in the film critic universe, Grace Randolph, said, "The Bride exclamation point is unwatchable. It is a huge misfire." What? From Grace Randolph? My God. I mean, you got the critics percentage on Rotten Tomatoes is even lower than the audience score, okay, about a movie like this. And this movie is chum in the water for the man-hating sharks that swim around Hollywood, or so Maggie Gyllenhaal thought. She'll have plenty of time to ponder this mistake on the Hollywood version of The Tree of Woe, all right? And if you know what movie that's a reference to, let me know in the old live chat right there, what the Tree of Woe reference comes from as far as movies go, in the live chat on Rumble or YouTube right there. Okay, so because it's a famous movie, very famous movie there, and let's just say it stars an Austrian. There we go, and I'm sure that that gave it away right there. All right, everybody, what should we do next here in this episode, this latest episode of Movies Merica Live? Here, as I scratch my nose over here, I got a little itchy going on with my nose right there. I know what I should do. I should let you know that I do have another show coming up this week here. It's every week. I have a show on Thursday night as well, not just the show that's on Sunday afternoon. All right, I got the Thursday night show called Movies Merica Spoiler Warning. Okay, and as you can tell from the title, yes, spoilers might be mentioned in the Thursday show, on the Thursday show right there. Okay, I say it that way because I don't go out of my way to drop spoilers on the Thursday show, but I don't walk on eggshells and chew off my fingernails, worrying about if I'm going to drop a spoiler like I do on this show. Okay, so if you can tell, my fingernails are all gone because I'm chewing them out of nervousness that I might drop a spoiler about this movie here, the Batman. Obviously, I got Christian Bale on the brain right there. So let's try that again. The Bride exclamation point there. Okay, but yeah, again, all that to say is I have a Thursday night show called Movies Merica Spoiler Warning, and I will be talking about The Bride exclamation point in more detail. Okay, and that show is typically longer, or at least a little longer than this Sunday show right there, because I try to go more in depth into the movie. And then how in depth I go into the movie is almost entirely dependent on how much feedback or how much I hear from you through the live chat right there, because I'm not doing this show just for myself. I do the show so that viewers can get in the live chat and we could talk about the movie of the episode. Okay, there, and you can let me know if you hate the movie, love the movie, thought it was somewhere in the middle, kind of meh, or if you want to talk about another movie or live chat about really anything you want, because I know I'm not the only movie maniac out there. I know I'm not the only freedom-fueled film fanatic out there, and so this show is a perfect show that if you love movies, you can get into this show and watch it live, and get in the live chat and talk about said movie. You can rip it to shreds or sing its praises from the mountaintops, whatever you want to talk about right there, okay? And so the Thursday show lets you do that. I suppose I should probably let you know what time that show comes on Thursday night. Probably not the worst idea in the world. So that comes on at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Mountain Time and 4 p.m. Pacific Time on Thursday night. And all you gotta do on Thursday is just search, search Movies Merica and then the name of the movie that I'm going over, and then you'll see the link there on Thursday morning. That's usually when we have the links out first on Thursday morning, and you'll find the links to that. Or you can go to my X account under @MoviesMerica on Thursday morning or sometime on Thursday, and you can get the links to watch the show that way as well. So there you go. So all you movie maniacs and all my fellow freedom-fueled film fanatics, don't say I never gave you a chance to talk in depth about this movie and that movie and all of that stuff right there, because this is a show where movie nerds need to unite and talk ad nauseum about movies and all that stuff. So I know, like right now, I mean, we're coming into an age, or maybe we're just already fully embedded in the age where video games is where it's at, and movies are play second fiddle to video games. Okay, right there. And I know that movies did it to themselves, because in the last 15, 20 years, we've had so many like woke message movies, and that's basically sullied the movie waters. It's poisoned the movie waters right there, where people they rightfully think that there's no good movies anymore, or there's very few good movies, but they think there's a lot of good video games coming out. But you know what, I gotta warn you, that whole woke messaging, and that whole woke worldview, that's in video games as well. But anyway, the reality is what it is. Video games, number one up here, and movies are number two down here. Okay, there we go. And so yeah, it's so if I was a smart guy, I'd be doing a show about video games right now, or having a show where I'm just playing video games, or I don't know why I'm doing the keyboard thing, but where I'm playing video games and letting people watch me play video games. That would be the smart play, as far as having a show there to get the viewers. But I love movies so much that I'm like, I don't give a crap. I'm not a gamer, so it would be disingenuous for me to start a video game show right there. But anyway, enough about that. I just wanted to take a few minutes to let you know about my Thursday show, the Movies Merica spoiler warning show right there. All right, let's move on, shall we? Okay, and I was just mentioning woke here a little earlier right there. And of course, this is the time of the show for my segment that I do on my Sunday show only. And that segment is Is This a Woke After School Special? Referring to the movie that I'm talking about today. Is the movie that I'm talking about a woke after school special? Now, I realize we may have some younger viewers watching this show right here. Okay, we might have a gaggle of viewers that are in their 20s or teens or whatever. And right now, they're rightfully asking, what the hell is a after school special? Much less a woke after school special. And you know what? Hey, I am going to allow me to educate you, okay, here about what a after school special is. So an after school special is this thing that came out like in the late 70s and early 80s, okay? And it would come on, obviously, after school, okay? So you like 3:30, Central Time or whatever. And it would come on so here's how it went down for me. So I would come home from school at 3:30 or whatever, and I'd run in the house. And, hey, mom, hey, can I watch Gilligan's Island or the Dukes of Hazzard? And hey, can all my friends have some Sunny D? You sit down in front of the TV, you're going to watch the Gilligan's Island, or so you think. And instead, what comes on instead of Gilligan's Island is a after-school special, okay? And it's usually like a half-hour show, and it teaches kids about, hey, don't smoke cigarettes, or don't drink, or, some creepy guy, that comes up and drives up in a van with no windows and says, hey, kids, I got plenty of ice cream and candy in here. Come on inside. Like, don't get in the van, especially if the guy looks like Joe Biden, okay? So it's shows that teach kids valuable lessons like that. Like it's in the right place, all right? It's trying to teach kids not to smoke and drink and all of that stuff right there, but it does it in a very, very corny, cheesy way, okay? They were so cheesy and corny even back then. I can't imagine how corny and cheesy they would look now if I watch one. But so that's the context. That's like what an after school special is right there. And they don't have them on anymore, as far as I know, there. But I call this segment, is this movie a woke after school special? Because we have had a plethora of movies, okay, in the last, 20 or 15, 20 years where a movie hasn't really been a movie, okay? It's not something that's been meant to entertain you or anything like that. It's more of a woke after school special, okay? It's the kind of thing that makes the vast majority of people that watch it just roll their eyes, okay, there. And so let's get to it. Is The Bride, exclamation point, a woke after school special? Okay, is it indeed a woke after school special there? And to that, I'll say, just watch this and see if you can tell just from this if it is or not.
You have 2 daughters.
Yeah, how old are yours?
12 and 13.
Okay.
Okay.
I have 19 and almost 14.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Advice.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you this. Here's a little piece of advice that can also segue to the movie. Like, I made this movie because of my daughters. I made the first movie also because of my daughters, but this one is about the parts of all of us that will not get in the box that everyone tells us we're supposed to get into. And my daughters, like, fundamentally will not get in their boxes. And at first I thought, no, guys, get in the box. It's just gonna be easier for you. You're gonna have an easier time. Like, I was wishing for them that they would fit more easily. And then I was like, no. Like, I had a kind of an epiphany. And the truth is, like, then I wrote this movie.
All right. So this is the type of movie that the Is This a Woke After School Special segment was born for. All right. The moment I heard that this was a reimagining of The Bride of Frankenstein, just like anytime I hear one of woke Hollywood's fave words, reimagining, a little pee came out of me. All right. And I stole that line from Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay. And The Bride, exclamation point, is an unneeded feminism after school special, okay? I mean, there's a reason that this is set in the 1930s. It's because the demand for the level of misogyny portrayed here is far greater than the supply in this day and age, okay? So Gyllenhaal had to go back almost 100 years to find, the type of misogyny that she wanted to portray right there. And most of the men in The Bride, exclamation point, are just outright caricatures, okay? Pretty much every man in The Bride, exclamation point, except for Frank, are portrayed as disgusting, handsy, assaulting Neanderthals. It's like getting a peek into the warped mind of a militant feminist. And this movie is so pretentious, so sloppy. I mean, it just makes me wonder, what are the names of the men who Gyllenhaal is just so mad at, that made her make this movie. I know you heard her say there that her daughters inspired her to make this movie, but I guarantee you, there's like a man or some men that that jilted her, right? That jaded her, that she made this movie for. Like, and to that, I'm like, yeah, who did Gyllenhaal wrong? I mean, she's angry, she's mad. And she needed to make this movie for them right there, and her daughters, as she said. And I hope that Maggie got some catharsis from this movie, because she'll have plenty of time between now and the next time any studio gives her even 1 red cent to make another movie, because I'm sure Warner Brothers didn't want to spend $90 million on Gyllenhaal's feminist therapy session. I guarantee they did not want that movie. They did not want a
Message.
movie, all right? And they didn't want to spend $90 million on that. Or maybe they did want a message movie for $90 million, but they wanted it to make some bank there. But again, that's why I say that that Paramount buyout of Warner Brothers, that's why that's a good thing, because not that I want, as all the soy boys are afraid of, not that I want, Trump to have any control over anything. or movies or TV to have that Trump flavor to them or anything like that. I don't want that either. And I voted for Trump 3 times, and I don't want that. I just want, because Warner Brothers is being bought out by Paramount, I want the seemingly smarter than Warner Brothers executives at Paramount about like what the vast majority of America wants to see in their movies and TV. I want them to take that knowledge and make more movies and TV shows that, again, the vast majority of America wants to see. Okay, not the 1.5% of people that just eat up movies like The Bride, exclamation point, or watch The View religiously or anything like that. So actually, The View is a bad example because there's a whole nation of Merlot marinated, cul-de-sac, housewives that watch The View. There's a bad example, but you get my point right there. Okay, there you go. Oh, right there. Okay, all right. Let's move on there, people. All right, here we go. If I get my crap straight here. I blame my mouse. It's my mouse's fault. That's it. I'm going to blame my mouse for my technical difficulties right there. But so my final thoughts on The Bride, exclamation point. If you've been listening, of course, I'm totally recommending this movie. No. Far from it, people. Far from it. All right. Like I said, this movie is the reason that I created is this movie a woke after school special segment? Okay. Not really. But it's a perfect movie for that segment right there. Okay. So yeah, if you don't want to spend, 18 $18 a person, plus snacks and candy, on that, if you don't want to watch a
Message.
movie there where you're just basically just getting lectured, after you paid $18 and then paid $15 for popcorn and soda. Do not go to this movie whatsoever. Okay, so it's a lecture fest. It's a sermon. It's just woke Hollywood looking down their nose at you, preaching at you the proper way to act and all of that stuff and that kind of thing. So and it's like technically like as far as from a God, just from a look standpoint, it is like it's technically it is done very, very well. It's got some good it's got a good look to it right there. Okay, the cinematography is pretty good. But other than that, I can't say really anything good about it whatsoever. So, but yeah, again, like I said, Maggie Gyllenhaal, enjoy your 10 years in director's purgatory. So because you're not getting to direct a movie anytime soon. That is for sure right there. Okay, so roll in real quick here. Just want to let you guys know here before we wrap up this show is that if you guys are appreciating what I am doing enough to maybe throw a buck or two or five my way or however much cashola you want to send my way, well, you most certainly can do that. And I'm about to show you how you do that. So if you're on Rumble, down to where you would type in your live chat message, and there's a button with a $sign on it in Rumble. You just got to click on that, and it'll pop up another window, and it'll just ask you how much you want to donate to this guy right here. That's it. Very simple, okay? And then also in Rumble, there is a tip button that's right on down there. And that's another way that you can throw a little money my way if you want. It's just done like with the Rumble wallet, which is perfectly fine. That's fine. And then also on YouTube there, if you're watching me on there, you can donate some money my way on YouTube as well. And it's also done via the live chat window. So if you fire up the live chat window on YouTube, if you haven't already got that up, and go down to where you type in your live chat message, there's a button there with a $bill sign. And you just got to click on that. It'll open another window. It'll just ask you how much you want to donate my way. And that's it. Very simple, very easy. Again, it's uncanny how similar it is to how you do that on Rumble there. Okay, so But enough of that, because I feel like I'm begging for money. I just feel dirty and all that stuff, and I don't want to keep doing that there. All right, so enough of me begging for money. All right. Okay, well, I just want to thank everybody for watching this episode right here. I know this is a movie that's not really popular. I mean, like I said, it only made like 7.3 million at the box office. I think it's domestic. It didn't make much more like internationally as well. So this movie is going to bomb pretty heavily right there. So I am not surprised that not a whole lot of people are joining me for this episode there, because I think the word is out. All right, that this movie is a woke after school special. So they sure as hell don't want to watch a YouTube or a Rumble show about it there. So, but the reason I'm doing this show, though, is I'm here exactly for that reason, to warn you and to give you a heads up. Don't jump in the car. Don't go to the theater. Don't spend 1 red cent on this pile of dog turd of a movie right there. Don't do it. All right, don't do it whatsoever. So, but real quick here, just want to ask you if you would follow me, okay? Because Movies Merica is on a bunch of different social media platforms there. I'm on Twitter, or not Twitter, X there under @Movies Merica. If you would follow me there, and then feel free to like some of my posts on there or comment on my posts there on X. I put a bunch of dumb little movie related posts there on my @Movies Merica X account. I'm also on Facebook. I've got a Movies Merica page, a Movies Merica group. Also, I've got my Van Ebert profile on Facebook right there. So feel free to follow all of those right there as well, and just say hi, on Facebook. I'm also on Rumble, of course. If you are watching me on Rumble, of course you're like, duh, you're on Rumble. I'm watching you on Rumble. But if you look for Movies Merica on Rumble, you're gonna see like 3 Movies Merica accounts. So yeah, feel free to follow or subscribe to all of them. That would be fantastic. And then, hey, if you're feeling especially ambitious, hey, nothing wrong with going to the Rumble account there, and you'll know what Rumble account it is. The Rumble account with all the episodes of the Movies Merica on there, and feel free to get in there and just start liking every episode right there again. So hey, maybe you're feeling ambitious, or you just get a rail, and you're all hyper and energized. All right, so there you go. That's to my Miami viewers. So anyway, my Miami viewers and my viewers in Hollywood. There you go. But also I'm on Gab as well. If you're on Gab, I'm on Instagram there as well. So, but yeah, go ahead and follow me there. And then, hey, if you want to let me know that you follow me on any platforms, I mean, you can DM me or direct message me on my X account @Movies Merica. Just let me know that you follow me on a platform or multiple platforms, and I will follow you back. There you go. So it's just trying to help you out because you helped me out. All right, so there you go with that. So, all right, let's get ready to wrap up this show here. But again, in short, if you haven't picked up what I'm saying here about The Bride, ! Don't bother watching it. Definitely don't go to the theater to go see it. I wouldn't even watch it on streaming. Okay, hell, I wouldn't even watch it if in a couple of years, if you're laying on a couch at 3 a.m. just scratching your nuts, and you basically you open your eyes because you fell asleep, and you see like the Bride ! Playing on HBO or something like that. I wouldn't even watch it then. I'd just I'd turn it to C-SPAN for something more entertaining to watch than the Bride ! So there you go. So as you can tell, I love this movie. All right. But with that here, real quick here, just feel free to share the link to this episode to any family or friends, all right, out there. Don't hog all the premium Movies Merica for yourself. Don't be stingy hogs, okay? Give the gift of Movies Merica and share the link to this episode, or the link to my Rumble and YouTube channels there with all the episodes with anybody and any of your friends or family. There you go. But we're getting ready to wrap up this episode. But first, get out there, people. Those movies aren't going to watch themselves. See ya.
Howdy, my fellow freedom-fueled film fanatics. Would you do me a favor and check me out at solo.to/moviesmerica? That's where you would go for a one-stop shop for all the links that have to do with me, Movies Merica. And then also, if you want to check out the audio-only podcast versions of my Movies Merica live episodes, that's my spoiler-free reviews that I do on Sunday, you can go to moviesmerica.com or Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, places like that. And then, actually, if you would also check me out on the social media sites like X and Instagram and Facebook and Gab. And I'm on those locations all under @Movies Merica. So it is very easy to find me out there, all right? So get to it, everybody. All right, thanks for watching. Later.
Hey guys, don't leave the video quite yet. Okay, I've got a popo. They're coming after me, and I don't have much time to tell you, but you need to like and subscribe this video right here, down below. It's right down there. It's just waiting. It's waiting for you down there, okay? And make sure you watch these videos over here too. You'll be doing me a big favor. I'll be in handcuffs pretty soon. All right, thanks for watching.